Well, I don't know, but would I better off to have that family photo first over there? I probably need to tell you the story of my parents going to Sevenard first, do I? Before I show the photo?
Yeah.
Because that's 1910 and this is 1933. See, I was only born in 1930.
Yep.
Here we went away and then I came back with my husband in 59.
It was probably the people that brought you back, or?
No, my husband, he was a mechanic and we started a garage here.
Ah.
Or with my brother, yeah.
What was that called?
Aero service station.
Aero? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the planes were 2 blocks up used to come in, yeah.
Yeah, right. Was the airport busy?
It was those years, yes, and then all of a sudden we lost everything.
When was that, when you lost everything?
Oh, about the, in towards the 80s.
Yeah.
But when we came back in 59, you know, there was really nothing that... Actually, Minnipa looked a bigger town than Woodner in those days.
Yeah. And we had the airport.
That's right.
Yeah, Blackjack Airport.
And then they started the highways and the pipelines and...
Because it wasn't bitumised then either, and used to go in the town, so they didn't have the bypasses then either. So...
And there would have been a lot more services around then, more banks, stock agents.
That's right, we had all those, yeah.
Well, more of everything, more police officers, bigger police station probably.
That's right, they went from the old police station and they built another house with another office alongside of it, you know, and I mean that's just sitting there empty for years.
This is in Minnipa, or?
At Minnipa, yeah, so. And
just all of a sudden, like you say. Well, they have the education department and the banks and all that. They have like, it's all a numbers thing, isn't it?
That's right, and when they start to take things away from you, that's the end, isn't it? You lose a school, you know, you lose your banks, you lose your everything, yeah.
Because one thing leads to another.
That's right. We had good years. We had many good years in the 60s and 70s. But from then on, well, you got me talking, have you?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tell me about your childhood.
I used to have to go across the Salt Lake to go to school from Yananee to a little school called Winnell. A lot of people haven't heard about it, but after we left, because my brother, he drove us across, the twins and I. And so when he left, well, Mum and Dad wouldn't let us go across the lake. So we then went into Yananee school, yeah.
And that school had, when did it close? How many kids did it have when you...
Oh, well, it only probably had about 8 or 9 or so. When 4 of us left, there wasn't much.
And probably was the cause of its closing, probably, because that's what would happen. It would drop under that 5 or something like that.
Down, yeah. But they were good days going to school. I enjoyed those little schools. And because I loved nature studying, because then the teacher would take us outside, you know, roam through the bushes and look for the beetles and whatever that was around, check the leaves and...
Well, I was going to ask, I mean, you know, what was the curriculum like? I mean, I guess you actually had a lot of freedom for the teacher to choose what...
That's right. Well, probably there was only mental and maths and you know, writing and all those simple subjects in those days.
Now let me carry on with this one over your shoulder for that. Tell me about your photographs.
Well, first of all, I'll tell you that my parents came to the West Coast in 1910. My father came overland. He had a brother that had a butcher shop in Ceduna, so he came over, and then he went back and got my mother and her sister to come over. They caught the Wookata boat and came over by boat to Thevenard, and so they did a bit of share farming around, and then they went to into Thevenard. They were doing the gypsum works, and they were building the jetty there, and so my dad became involved, and...
there was a gypsum football club.
That's right. And then,
did he possibly play for them?
Well, he probably would have helped out somewhere, I should say.
Gypsum Works Football Club.
Yeah, I don't know, but anyway, then Mum, and then they had 3 children, and what happened was that the Gypsum Works wanted to cook, so I think they only had tents those days, so my mother cooked in tents with just ovens in the ground and that, and yeah, so...
What did she cook?
Oh, well, all sorts. Mutton, my brother always told me you cooked anything that come off the land.
You would have done in those
Yeah,
days.
there was
too.
all sorts of animals. Yeah, so anyway, she did that, and then they went out share farming for a few years, and then they asked if she would come back and cook again, and she said she wouldn't cook like that, so they built her a tin shed, and she cooked in the tin shed for some time.
Which was hot.
Yes, that's right, and because then all the jetty works was going on, and my father bought a block of land, and he built a boarding house. So my mother cooked in the boarding house from about Dad built it in 1926, and by that time they had 8 children.
And this is in the boarding house whereabouts?
8 at Thevenard, yeah, Kent Street, Thevenard. And so the girls were much older, so they were able to help Mum in the kitchen and that. And
what years are we talking about?
from 1927 till 1933, she cooked there, yeah. And then, and then she had done lots of things like the new pipeline had been built through, and
1926, I think it sort of got up to this end, I think.
about 27, because I think she was expecting a child and ended up having twins. And then actually at the time before she had the twins, she did the luncheon for the governor to opening of the scheme. So that was quite an event, you know.
It would have been quite an event.
To do that, you know.
Did she tell you what she
without
cooked?
Fridges and that.
Did she tell you what she cooked?
No, she didn't, but it would have been a cold serve, I should say, but she could cook anything. My mother and I had 2 older sisters, yeah. And so they were all wonderful cooks, yeah. I was going to tell you about the photo. The top photo here is of us just about to leave Thevenard. This is where Dad built the boarding house. So we're taking out in front of the Thevenard. And then my aunt...
So that's taken at the boarding house?
That's right.
Fantastic.
That's taken at the boarding house. And the bottom one here is probably taken here in Minnipa, because we moved to Minnipa in 1933, and in 1935 we went to Port Lincoln for a little while, you know. And I mean, I wouldn't have known the change, but anyway, while we were there, my younger sister arrived. So then we came back to Minnipa again, you see. So this one is taken at Minnipa, yeah.
Beautiful.
But then by the time the war came, we were at Minnipa here, and we started school here. The older ones all went to school at Thevenard or Sejuna, and then 3 boys and 3 girls went to school here at Minnipa for some time, and then the government took over the research farm again, which was run by the Billinghursts, and so Dad went share farming just out off the lake at Jananee, and so for a time there we drove my younger brother, drove the horse and cart to a little school called Winilla. But then when he left, my parents didn't like us to go across the lake a bit, so we girls then had to drive into Jananee, and we went to the Jananee school, which was 6 miles, I think. Yeah, so, but we had a great life, you know, coming from a big family. You have so much fun, you know, and I don't think any of us have ever had an argument. And we like to get together nearly every year anyway, and that amounts to a lot of people nowadays. Yeah, but fortunately there's only of us 5 surviving at the moment. The others 7 have passed on, yeah, but we really have had a wonderful life, and it didn't matter whether my sister was 19 years older than me, we were so close, we just loved to get together. Yeah, and our families weren't much different. She got married older and I got married younger, so her children are not all that much older than mine.
Yeah, really? There you go.
Yeah, so it's all good. Yeah, so I told you about that one. That's
all right, very good. We can pop that down.
Yeah, that one can go down, yeah.
Just while we're at it though, why don't you tell me about your mother and father?
Yeah, well, this is my mum and dad. This was taken, I reckon, when Dad was 50. And we were living at Minnipa here, so he must have taken her to Adelaide for his 50. Either that or it was their... I presume it was either that or their 25th wedding anniversary.
It would have been a big event.
It all worked in the same thing. Dad was born in 1887 and Mum was born in 1889.
How did they get to town? Did they take the train to Lincoln and then the boat?
No, they must have borrowed a car, I think, because Dad said you had to go over a punt, I think, at Port Augusta in those days. Yeah, so that's so that's our parents, yeah. And they brought us up to
their names?
Oh, that was Mater, and this was William. Yeah, so always called Bill. Everybody called him Bill. Yeah.
And they were from?
They originated from Uganda. That's where they were brought up, and yeah.
So good German stock from Uganda?
Definitely good stock, yes. And even when we were at Sajuna, Dad was a great horsey person, you know. He loved the horses and went into the races and that, you know. So, yeah, so we've all followed a bit of sport, horses, and didn't matter what it was, you know, dogs. Yeah. So.
You played basketball?
I played basketball, was in the 40s.
For Minnipa?
No, first of all, I went to Concordia College, which I'm a Concordia, but I did do 12 months at Concordia College and I played basketball there. And then when I came back, I did not like the city, so I'd come back and live with my married brothers and work around the farms. And then I went to Port Neale and got a job, 2 or 3 jobs there actually, and yeah, played a lot of sport there.
Port Neale?
Yeah, and that's where I met my husband. He came back from, he'd been overseas in Japan after the atomic bomb, and so when he came back I met him.
And he's a Port Neale lad?
No, he's Tumby Bay.
Tumby Bay lad.
His parents were, his father was a harbour master at Tumby Bay, so yeah, so...
They would have been terrific times at Port Neale, because Port Neale was a bustling little port itself.
It was, yes, it was, yeah.
That's when the ketches were coming in?
That's right, Yeah, no, it was just great. It was, and the people were so lovely, you know. I mean, I was only like 16, 17, 18 in those years, but never lonely, you know. I played all sorts of sports and belonged to clubs and, yeah, dancing. We loved our dancing years, yeah.
Well, that was a part of the whole scene, wasn't it?
Right.
You played sport in the day and then you went to a dance?
That's right, and no, so...
With everyone, no one having had a shower ready from the day's exertions.
That's
so
right,
no,
that's right.
You'd go, under the trousers?
You'd go straight from the playing your basketball and football, and you'd go to probably just a quick tea of something, and then all just go to the dance, because all there was a hall. There was nothing else. Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, because we left... then we got to Yanani, and because the war came, and so Dad thought he'd go to munitions, so he went over first with the 2 sisters, and they got a house on Prospect Road, which was an unusual house. It was like an L shape, so you had to go outside to go to your bedrooms, but we all had a good fun there, yes, yeah. And we were fortunate that the tram stopped right in front of our door, picked us up there and left, so we didn't have any worries about getting home. Yeah, so.
So you were how old during the war?
I was, well, it started in 39, so I was 9 and that, and so it was 41 when we went, and then 3 of my brothers and a sister joined the forces, so, and so they all came home, and.
Tell me about your mother's life.
Oh, my mother's life. Well, she was just a hard worker in my life, and but she was. She just loved everybody, and I mean, she always used to having a full house. Even when we went to Prospect, she still had boarders, you know, that actually came to stay, and all my cousins and that, if they came from the coast, they'd come and stay there and get a job and work for a while, you know.
She obviously had no trouble cooking for numbers.
Oh, no effort, no. And she only had a wood stove, you know, even up till the probably 57, and that they ended up building a house out at Salisbury. And
what was her first house like? What was your childhood home like?
Hers?
Well, what were the floors rubberoid or?
Well, I can't tell you about like their early life.
No, your childhood.
Oh, yes. Well, I don't remember much because I was 3 when we left there, and then we came to Minnipa here, and we had a house there, and I presume that would have had, they might have had wood floors, I think. And then from there we went to Yanani, and we like the Katurskis. We lived in the government houses, you know, with sheds, you know, and so that wasn't much there, you know. And
what were the walls made of?
They're only tin.
Tin?
Yeah.
Kerosene?
Yeah, I think it was only kerosene that I can remember, you know, and...
Step up from super bags, but...
Oh, yes, for them it would have been, yes. Yeah, and so that was... yeah, but the only home like that stands today is the one that Dad built in 1927. That's still at Thevenard. And then their last one, built at Salisbury, that one's still there today. Yeah.
But obviously the government shed wouldn't be around, but that was the classic sort of design with one alongside the other.
That's right, you know, you'd live in one part and then the other part would be kept to seed wheat or something like that, you know. I don't have a clue where my brothers ever used to sleep.
Where did you
Because they
sleep?
never, well, 3 of us slept in a bed. Yeah, 3 in a bed.
What was the bed made of?
Oh, just an iron bed. Yeah.
Iron bed. Oh, so you had like a bedstead?
Yeah, we
and a
had
mattress
it
on
like, yeah, well, probably a K-pop mattress, I should say it was. Yeah, and probably feather pillows, you know. You'd save the feathers from the chooks and that.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
You remember what the floors were? They rubberoid probably? Or?
Yeah, I think rubberoid if I should remember. I think I don't remember much.
You remember your mother mopping them with water and milk?
No, I don't remember. I don't remember
shiny?
that, no, because I was sort of a bit young, I think, and we only were there from 39 to, or 38 to 41. And yeah, so I don't really remember, you know.
What did you think about coming back to Minnipa?
Oh, I loved it. Oh, anywhere on the coast. I just, when they took me to Adelaide in 1941, I knew I didn't like it. And one of my eldest brothers, he used to come over. He'd bought a truck, so he had a farm and tried to do some trucking. And he used to say to Mum, "Can I take her home?" So he'd take me back to his place, and I'd go to school there for a few months and then come home again. So when I got the opportunity. I was sent over here several times because if the girls had babies and something went wrong, they'd send me over here to help out. And then in 1946 I came over here and just got work around, and that's what I did. I just kept myself alive somehow.
Yeah, well, did you live on the properties where you were working?
Yeah,
or?
I did, yeah. That was the beauty of it. Not that you got much money, you know, but you were able to live, you know. And one property I lived on, it was a time when the prisoners of war, Italians, and we used to have an Italian prisoner of war there, and once a month the trucks used to come around with a special food, and I think that's the first time I really tasted spaghetti.
Yeah, that's right.
He used to cook the spaghetti.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, I've sort of seen lots of things in my life, you know, yeah.